everyone, and welcome to Down Home with the Coonrod Clan. If we haven't met yet, my name is Stephanie. I am the mom of 5 daughters, and I'm married to my incredible husband for almost 14 years. It'll be 14 years in June. And we recently moved from Maryland to North Carolina, so we are in the phase or process of making a house into a home, which is a fun season to be in. For today, I'm going to do a couple things. I'm going to brief you a little bit on what has happened in my life over the past couple days. And then the main topic for today is I'm going to give you a really simple and easy routine for when your children come home from school. And then I'm also going to give you a simple routine for both the mornings and the evenings. With kids, it's really good to have some form of structure or routine. These are routines that we have used for years now. Now, they've always had to tweak. As children get older, you tweak them a little bit, but it's always been helpful that our children know what to do when we say, all right, do your evening routine or do your morning routine. They know what to do. First, let me first talk about what has happened the past couple days. So it has been a eventful past couple days, to say the least. Friday afternoon, my daughter started to not feel well, and she started to vomit and not stop. She was having pain in her stomach. Now, at first she was just saying, my stomach hurts. So I was thinking, stomach bug, stomach flu, something like that. Well, Saturday morning rolls around. She did this. She said, oh, my belly hurts. So she didn't point to her stomach area. She pointed to where her appendix area is. And I knew right away, a child, even though they call this their stomach, it's good as parents, it's good to know kind of where organs are a little bit. And I'm just thankful. I was raised by a nurse, and my sister's a nurse, so a lot of that type of talk was in our home and things like that. So I was familiar when, as soon as she pointed to this lower quadrant of her stomach, I was like, oh man, I think this is appendicitis. So go to the hospital. We finally get into the room, and at first they are thinking, oh, just a stomach bug. And I was like, I don't know. My mom gut is thinking appendicitis. Like, can we please, it is just this lower right quadrant. Yes, she's been vomiting, but it's not her stomach that is hurting. It's the appendix area. They then laid her down and touched her belly, and right away it was owie right on that area. So they switched paths. It wasn't like, oh, some other kid coming in for the stomach flu. It was, we've got something on our hands here. My kiddo was getting increasingly more in pain. I mean, almost minute by minute, the pain was getting increased. So they needed to put her on morphine for the pain, and that did help. And then they did an ultrasound, and they saw that the appendix indeed was very enlarged, and her white blood count was through the roof. So we had, at that point, knew we were working with appendicitis, and they needed to do surgery. I really would have liked to do immediate surgery. That would have been the ideal situation, but they were short-staffed, and they didn't have a dedicated pediatric surgical team on site. And the surgical team that was there, although they were very equipped, they said, we would like to have a pediatric team here just in case things would go downhill. At that point, my daughter was not septic. She was in a lot of pain, but she wasn't septic. So they decided to wait until the morning. That night was a horrible night. Watching your child in pain is so hard. And yes, so she was on morphine, but there was a point that they wanted to just see if Tylenol and ibuprofen would help. And it didn't. The combination of those, even though they would normally work for where she was in the process of her appendicitis, that was not touching her pain. She was in a lot of pain. So the time frame from 10 p.m. till surgical time it was hard. It was really hard, and she was such a trooper, and we had a lot of snuggles and things like that. But 7:30 on Sunday, she went into surgery to have a laparoscopic appendectomy, laparoscopic appendectomy performed. I guess it was about 2 hours, 2.5 hours maybe. The surgeon comes out and says it was indeed burst, and there was a lot of pus in there, and basically the pus and infection, and these are like layman's terms. I'm sure there's more articulate words out there, but basically all the pus and infection had made her other organs kind of go in flight mode. They weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing. Now her body is trying to play catch up with all of that. But she is doing so well. Like, that's what I want to get to. All of this, like, she is doing so well by the grace of God, but that is what we have been dealing with. So that is the life update. Today I am also going to be giving you some tips and tricks and a routine that you can use for when kids come home from school and for the morning and the evenings. Now, I have been doing routines and lists and things like this for years. The reason why I started doing these things is, one, I am type A, so I do like structure, routine, lists, and things like that. But also, there was a season that I was kind of dreading motherhood, for lack of better terms. I was drained, I was tired, I was exhausted, mentally, emotionally, physically. For me, I learned years ago that having a routine and a structure can really help with that. Will it solve all the problems? Not at all, but it will help to eliminate some of the chaos and the stress. Parenting is a journey, and it's a journey of ups and downs and highs and lows, and if you have multiple children, you see different personalities and things like that. Evening can be really chaotic. You know, kids have had a long day at school, and they come home and they're tired. My children know what they're supposed to do, and I'm not constantly saying, do this, do that, do this, do that. Have you brushed your teeth? And I can just simply say, do your evening 10, and it just makes things seamless. And then we have more time to enjoy each other. The stress levels come down because there's more structure and routine. If you're in a spot where you are just like, oh, I'm so tired and I'm worn out, and when the kids come home, it's just chaos. 1, pray. 2, breathe. 3, know that you can get through that, and you will get through it. Yes, there are going to be days things can get chaotic, but kids will quickly adapt to this. And so we're going to start with the welcome home routine. This is a really simple routine. Take off your shoes and place them neatly on a shoe rack. Then hang your backpack on the backpack hanger, and then take extra food out of your lunchbox and put it in the appropriate place, fridge, snack cabinet. Then put the water bottle on the counter or the sink if needs washing. Change into play clothes, place dirty clothes in the closet or dirty clothes in the hamper. And then put any important papers that mommy or daddy need to see or sign on the counter. Super simple. My kindergartner does this with ease. These are very simple from kindergarten all the way up. These are just basic things as they walk in. This eliminates that, walking in the door, shoes everywhere, backpacks everywhere, lost papers, and then it's like, where's your homework? Where's that permission slip? It eliminates that chaos so that things can be more, again, organized, and there's a rhythm and a pattern to what to do when they get home. So that's really simple. That's it. That is we'll just say as they walk in the door, oh, remember to do your welcome home routine. And that's all we need to do. If you have a child under 4 who can't, or a child who can't read, not every child can read at 5 or 6, so every child is different. If you have a child who might not be reading at this point, by the way, it's okay. They will learn to read. Some of mine were later, and now they're doing great. That's a side note. Don't stress over those little things. You do not need to have your child at 6 years old reading an encyclopedia. You can always do this with pictures. You could do a picture of a shoe. You could do a picture of a backpack, a picture of a water bottle. You can do visuals like that so they don't have to read it. So that's it. That's the welcome home routine. Now we're going to transfer to the every morning, every evening, do your evening or do your morning 10. We just simply say in our house, go do your 10. That's all we say. Go do your 10. And they know what that means. Now I'm gonna give a little area that you might need to show mercy and grace. Mornings for us are really, really early, so we don't stress the morning routine as much as we do stress it in the evening. If they can't get to everything on their list in the morning, it's okay. They'll do it in the evening. What's great about this routine is if you're keeping up on it, it takes maybe 5 or 10 minutes to do. It's not long at all. Now, if you're only doing it in the evening or in the morning, then it might take a little bit longer. And I'll explain that as we go on, because not every chore needs to be done twice a day, or not everything needs to be twice a day. So let me go over this a little. For the do your 10, everybody has the first 9 things as exactly the same. Everybody in the house has to brush and floss their teeth, brush their hair, put away their laundry, make their bed. They have to pray, devotions, read their Bible for at least 5 minutes, drink a cup of water, give a hug to everyone in the house and say, I love you. They have to tidy the room, and they have to throw the ball for Tuck and Stella, which is they're our dogs, 5 times. Then number 10 is complete your chore list. Each child in the house has a couple or a few chores that are age appropriate for them. They're very simple chores. These are not big, arduous chores. Now, every house is different. You might have different pets than we have. For younger children, you might need to scale it back a little bit. It might be simple things like fold dish towels or put away shoes or wipe off a mirror. You could do very simple things. And then once they grasp that concept, then you expand. I would say that I've learned over the years, sometimes a child will not like their chore and they'll grumble and complain to try to get out of that chore. For us, we have said the opposite. So if they grumble and complain, they're going to have that chore until they A, master that chore, and B, can do it without grumbling and complaining. So that is encouragement for them not to grumble and complain. You know, if you're here like, oh, I have to feed the dog again, or I have to do the dishes again, the response would be, yes, you do get to feed the dogs, and yes, you do get to do the dishes. What a blessing we have that we have dishes to wash. And isn't it a blessing that we have dogs that we get to care for? And tomorrow, let's try to honor God with our response by not grumbling and complaining. So tomorrow you're going to get another opportunity to do this same task, but let's do it without grumbling and complaining. So there's training in this too. So this isn't a just let them fly, like still be at the beginning phase, really be teaching them how to do something without grumbling and complaining. Now, I'll tell you right now, that does not mean you're going to have a bunch of perfect children who never grumble and complain. No, I still grumble and complain as a 36-year-old woman. You know, like we're not perfect, even though we have been trained in a certain way or whatever our parents have taught us or not taught us. We are not perfect beings. So no, your children aren't going to do these perfectly. But at the same time, you do want the focus to be, you're not doing this to please me, you're doing this to glorify God. So actually, let me roll that right into, on the bottom of this routine, there's a couple more visuals that we have up, and we do this intentionally. So we have Colossians 3:23 through 24 on here for a visual and for a reminder, both for us and for them. We also have Philippians 2:14 through 15 on here. Now we say this one quite often in our house. I mean, with kids and adults alike. You know, it's very easy to do things with grumbling and complaining. And we need to remind each other of that's not what God says to do. So God very clearly says, do everything. Do everything without grumbling and arguing. It doesn't say when I feel tired or when I feel like I don't want to do my chores, then I can grumble and complain. Nope. Nope, it doesn't. It doesn't, there's no way around it. It says do everything without grumbling and complaining. When I'm tired, I shouldn't be saying, oh, I have so many dishes, I have to do the dishes. Nope, I cannot complain either. It's weird to be doing all of these things for the glory of God. But there's more to that verse. That's a comma after the do everything without grumbling or arguing. It's comma, not period. So that you may become blameless and pure, children of God without fault in a warped and crooked generation. Whew! You can dive into so many words there with your kids. It could be a great teaching tool so that you will become this from not grumbling and complaining, and you're becoming blameless and pure. Wow, I want to be those things. Children of God without fault in a warped and crooked generation. So standing apart from what others are doing, what the world is doing. The world is grumbling and complaining. We are called to do otherwise. So lots of lessons there. You can dive into these verses with your children so they understand them and know why they're doing their chores. Again, it's not just to please mom or dad. It's not just because I have to. No, there's a reason. Another thing is we have a place for everything and everything in its place. That is a quote we say a lot in our home. A lot. Whenever not just in our home, we also say it when we're in the store as well. And that points to 1 Corinthians 14:40, which is talking about order. And look that verse up. I don't have the verse memorized. I really should memorize that verse because I reference what it means all the time, but I really need to memorize that verse. I'm going to do that. Hold me to that. This is like accountability here. In a week or two, be like, hey, have you memorized that verse? And I will hopefully say yes on that because I really need to memorize that verse. Anyway, so really, really easy. Another tip for all of these chores, both the welcome home and the do your 10, you're not going to be giving your children treats or money. You're not going to be giving them an allowance for doing these things. These are things that they are doing because they are part of the family. This is not a freeloader life. This is not a entitled life. So no, they need to do some things. Now, if they're looking to earn money or if they want to earn a treat, they can do things above and beyond this. So that is a little tip. I wouldn't get into the habit of giving treats for these types of things or giving money for this type of thing. Do that separate. Make another list of things that they can do to earn money. So that is it. I hope that these routines are helpful to you, and I hope that you can use them in your routine to help make the mornings and the evenings and when the kids get home from school a delight. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye!